All right, good afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order. Let the record reflect this is a meeting of the Vigo County Alcoholic Beverage Board, October the 20th, 2025. Do we have any persons here who wish to voice remonstrance against any permits on the agenda? And then noted, will all of those seeking renewal after a violation, please raise your right hand. Do each of you swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury that the answers given on your application and any answers to any questions asked by the board to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Items on the agenda for automatic renewal today are Red Lobster Restaurants LLC, permit ending 802, 12 Points Public Market LLC 380, Sodexo Operations LLC 446, Liquor First LLC 347, Poplar Street Food Mart Incorporated 712, Terre Haute International Airport Authority 934, Playpen Incorporated 350, Amber Adjacent to Goshen Pub LLC 877. Max Convenience Stores LLC 122, Terre Haute Brewing Company LLC 878, One Paradise Club Incorporated 858, Westminster Village Terre Haute Incorporated 265, and Ability Corp 479. Those listed without violation or remonstrance, or rather, those are listed without violation or remonstrance. Make a motion to approve automatic renewals.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Moving on to locations with violations, Eagle Petroleum Incorporated DL 8433227. Have a representative here. And what is your name? Okay, can you hit there's a button on the microphone, should activate, make it turn green. There you go. You don't have to hit it, just press it and it should turn green. Is it green?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You were issued a notice of violation on Friday, July 19th, 2024 for sale of alcohol to a minor and failure to check ID. So if you could, in your own words, tell us about the violation and what you've done to fix this issue. I'll stay right there. Do you mind to hit that door in the back, please? Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, go ahead. Okay, is this the first violation you guys have received as a business owner?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to speak loud.
Yeah.
You say you got a new POS system. What was your training and what was your system before you updated it? Okay. Any particular reason why this employee did not ask for identification before selling alcohol to a minor? By choice, or did you make that call?
I did that.
Okay. Very clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got updated your system. And that's everybody you card pretty much, or do you check all IDs?
Yes. Yeah.
And you paid a fine for this violation. How much was the fine?
Did you get the actual ID of the person, or did you not ask for the ID?
You mean the guy who did the violation? He didn't ask for the ID.
He did not ask for one. Is that a result of training?
He was well trained and he was well know about it. That's why he not employed at our store. Because it was the violation of our business policy.
So today, how would you prevent that from happening
So
today?
like anyone who is buying alcoholic beverage from the store, so they have to scan the actual ID and that will pop up with, person and everything. If it's like number each person. Same for the alcohol beverage.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion to approve is made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. All right, thank you. Discount Liquor and Tobacco Incorporated, DBA A&G Liquors. Heather, what's your name?
Same.
And you were issued a notice of violation on Friday, December 6th, for failure to check ID, allowing a minor to loiter and sell an alcoholic beverage to a minor. Tell us about the violation and how you've corrected this.
Every ID now that comes through the door, scan each ID. And he didn't, so what would happen, I think, it happened to us before, he didn't check the ID because that lady came, the girl came before. And he checked the ID, then she came back again, he didn't check the ID, but we didn't know if that ID was real or fake, the one he checked before. So the correction officer was outside. And he said was ID and she didn't have it again, so we didn't have a proof that he checked the ID, but we did have an ID before we showed him, but we still had to pay the violation of $1,000.
What do you mean you had the ID?
So that incident happened before as well, like where the customer brought the ID in. And when he went outside, he told the officer that we didn't check the ID. So we showed him the tape, we did show the ID. And that's the second incident that happened right there. The girl came in and he didn't check the ID because he checked it previously. So we didn't have that tape to show them that he checked the ID before, like she came, I think, day before or something, I don't know. He didn't know at the time and stuff, we tried to go find it and couldn't find it at all.
Okay, so you're kind of running your timeline together a little bit, like with previous incidents or previous times that this girl would come in, as opposed to this particular one?
So he checked the ID.
Okay,
So he checked it, what I'm trying to say, he checked her ID before, 1 or 2 days before what she came again. He didn't check her ID because he recognized her. So we told him not to do that, check every ID. Whoever comes to the door, it doesn't matter if they came 5 minutes or 1 hour before, we still have to check the ID and scan it.
okay. And this was a fake ID that she had presented to you before?
That was different. This one, I think so, because she didn't have the ID and she's not 21.
Well, I mean, no, it wasn't a question. I'm telling you, it was a fake ID.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, it was a fake ID.
Oh, you guys caught her?
Yeah, there's a name attached to the report that's interesting,
Oh, yeah.
and that's mine, because I was there.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, it's a fake ID.
Okay.
Yeah, so how are you going to go about, because a lot of college students go to this store, how do you ensure that, or what are you doing to check and make sure that they're legitimate IDs and not fake IDs?
So I showed them like the booklet and stuff and checked everybody's ID with their collection and everything. And just scanning the things, but I noticed that some of those ID scan as well.
Right, so I double back to the last question.
Yeah.
What are you doing to ensure that you're
Yeah,
seeing real legitimate IDs?
We had a conference and I told everybody how to check the ID, how to tell is the difference in the fake and real ID.
Okay, so if I walk in with a fake ID and I present you with a fake ID, you're going to see all of the holograms, you're going to see all the microprint, you're going to see those things that are on the legitimate ID, but you're going to see them on a fake ID.
Yeah.
Okay. And you scan that and it scans okay, like this one did, but it's fake.
Yeah.
But the person looks like they're well under 21. What action do you take?
We don't sell it to them.
We did.
Yeah. Yeah, we did sell it.
Yeah. So are you asking for other forms of ID?
Yeah. For another?
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't been asked.
Are you disagreeing with me or are you doing?
I'm agreeing with you, we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
So What other forms of ID can you ask for?
There's school ID or something with, I mean, I think we can use that school ID either.
Okay, so does a school ID have a name and a date of birth on it?
The Indiana State, I think it does have it.
I think most of them do
Sure.
not. Most student IDs do not have date of birth on
Okay,
it.
yeah, I'm not.
Right, so you need to ask for something, proof of majority, right? Something with their name, date of birth, something of value. So that if it's questionable, you're taking steps to ensure that they're as old as they are. Okay. So the first problem is that that just didn't happen at all. The second is that she's used it at your premise before and it was a fake ID. And with just simply asking her, she says, yeah, it's a fake ID. So if they look under 21 and it's suspect or it's questionable, you need to take additional steps to ensure that the person is as old as they say they are, especially at a store such as yours, which is where college kids go.
Yeah,
Clear on that?
yes,
Okay.
So when you say fake ID, are you including a legitimate ID that's in the possession of someone other than the actual owner?
That could very well be the case. Yeah,
So-
that's not this scenario, but yeah,
Right.
that could be.
So somebody gets an ID from a friend and they present it to you and the friend is over 21. So how do you determine this person that gave you that ID is not the correct person?
but that, we never ran into that issue, like, where basically notice the difference in the picture of the person who can be.
How many fake IDs has your store employees how many have they caught? Have they ever got anybody that looked at it and go, no, that looks fake, get out of my store?
Yeah, we caught a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, we caught a lot.
And how do you determine that they're fake?
We keep the ID, they're really thin. And, it doesn't have the, you know how the pop-up things on it? Some of them don't have that either on the name or it doesn't like pop up like it usually does on, licenses and stuff. The bold letters,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I mean, how many have you stopped? Just ballpark with fake IDs?
Thank you been doing that?
Sure.
It
Okay.
might be at the store, I think we gave something to officers too,
Okay.
yeah.
So when you're looking at them, you're looking at the lettering, you're looking at the width, you're looking at things like that.
On the laminator, they're
Uh-huh.
not cut out right either.
Yeah. Okay.
So when I read the report, it looked to me like whoever who sold the sale to the minor. Maybe I got to have the wrong one, but was there an issue of lying about it?
During the arrest,
Yes, was there an issue that what the clerk said no, that he had actually
no,
checked
that's,
that?
yeah,
Is that the one?
right.
So is that clerk still working for you?
Yeah. He called, he said he checked the ID, I said, you don't need to argue with the officer, I'm on my way. I told the officer, I can show you the video if he checked it, and we solved it right away. So there's no point of arguing, I told him there's no point of arguing with somebody. We have the cameras, we can show them if you're wrong, or if they're confused. And he said, okay, he won't do that again. Because I told him you guys have the 100% right to go through if you guys need. He said, okay.
So have there been any other issues since this incident?
Yeah, sir.
Make a motion for a 1-year renewal.
Okay, I'll second that. Motion for 1-year renewal is made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Betsy's Pub and Grove LLC. Is it Betsy's or Bestie's?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It says Betsy's in the report. Come on in. What's your name? Okay. Are you owner? Who is the owner of this location? This location was issued a violation on Thursday, June 19th of 2025 for credit sales and server training records. Are you familiar with the violation? Okay, go ahead and tell us about it. Okay, so the food issue is not a problem, it's the alcohol.
Right, it was a pizza and a beer,
Okay,
a pitcher of beer, I believe what it was.
okay. So this report says consisted of 1 screwdriver, 6 Bud Lights, and 2 Michelob Ultras. So who is Trina Milburn?
That's me.
That's you. Okay. And you were the one that was working that night?
No, I wasn't working.
Okay, who was the employee? Because you're the only one that's listed in the report. Okay, so does Robin, what's her last name?
She did.
Okay, so do you understand that this is a violation?
Yes.
Okay, and how would you have handled this differently? Do you know the person?
Yes. I wouldn't just do that for anybody, but I'm just saying because most everybody that comes in there, I already know them.
Okay,
So I would have just covered it. And then he could have just came in and paid me the next day. Which he did come back in the next day and pay it. And he still hadn't found his wallet, so
the second part of this is server training records. How many employees are at the location? So have you done your server training? Do you have your copy of the training? No, just at the premise?
I do, yes,
Okay, and your other employee, is that the same?
yes, there's a else. I guess when I applied for my server training, there was 2 different ones. I thought what I needed was for the Board of Health.
That's
And I didn't realize I needed this one too, but I have that.
right. Questions? Steve? I'll make a motion to approve.
So second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
I do have
Shoot.
Is this what I was waiting on, was to have this first and then it be approved?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So stand by just a second. You said it's up the 31st?
Yes,
Okay, so this will not go to the state commission until November the 4th. So you will need a letter of extension to get you from today to the 4th of November. Contact the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, and then
Okay.
they will, there's a form that you fill out requesting it, and then you pay for the extension, and they should grant you one.
okay.
Okay?
Thank you. I can do that today.
Yes,
Okay.
I recommend you do it today.
Pardon me.
I recommend you do it today, for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Still have a lot of people sitting in here. Okay, who are you guys with? Okay, already been approved. You've already been approved. If you've had a violation, you've already come up and spoken, you're free to leave. If you've automatically been renewed, you're free to leave. You don't have to sit and wait.
Pretty painless, wasn't it?
Huh?
It was painless.
I don't like it that way.
The Cabin Pub and Grub, RR 84015565. Tell us your name.
Yes.
You were issued a violation or notice violation on February 27th of 2024 for public nuisance. This is a lengthy report with quite a lot to it, but go ahead and explain to us what your understanding of this violation is. Prior to what?
Prior to the shooting.
Which place was this, cabin?
Yeah.
This is the cabin. Okay. So this dates back all the way to July 4th of 2022. There are a lot of incidents that are listed here, police runs from Terre Haute City and various other police agencies. Monday, July 4th of 2022, there was an arrest for intimidation, public intoxication, and possession of drug paraphernalia. On Saturday, October 22nd of 2022, a location involving pending battery charges with serious bodily injury. Thursday, March the 2nd of 2023, pending charge of intimidation, a person with a handgun, displaying the handgun to patrons inside the location. Thursday, March 7th of 2023, a suspect was arrested for resisting law enforcement, public intoxication, disorderly conduct. That person's blood alcohol content was 0.15, and he stated he was inside of the business consuming alcohol. Sunday, July 9th, 2023, fight in progress. Individual had a laceration above the right eye. Friday, September 8th. Absolutely. Apparently, we're taking a recess. Okay, we're back on the record. Let's see.
I think you're up to number 6.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I said this one or not. Sunday, July 9th, 2023, fight in progress. Victim with a laceration. We did get to that one. Friday, September 8th of 2023. Person was arrested for battery with bodily injury and theft. Saturday, December 2nd, 2023. Suspect with pending charges of intimidation with a deadly weapon following an argument. Tuesday, February 13th. Suspect was arrested for aggravated battery, criminal recklessness, felon in possession of a firearm, pointing a firearm. February 26th of 2024, another report of battery. Suspect charged with battery, be misdemeanor. Monday, February 26th. Incident was listed, let's see. It's like an altercation or a fight between a bartender and a patron. Wednesday, March the 6th, is when the notice of violation was issued for public nuisance. So a lot of incidents there. How did it get to this point? That's just one of two violations for this particular.
All those that you
Particular.
listed, to be honest with you, I went down to the police department and tried to get some information. Everything that you're reading me is news to me because all they will let me have is they said because of privacy concerns or whatever, that they would only let me have a list of when the police officers came to the premises. I couldn't speak to any of those that you just described because I have not been made aware of them till right now.
Okay. And that tells me a story in itself.
Well, not really, because most of those, I would imagine all of them, minus maybe a few, happened outside on a public street. So when people leave the premises and they go out to their cars, we are parked right there, the business is right there on 13th and half in Pullman. Is where a lot of that stuff is, I'm going to assume, is taking place.
Well, it's that you're assuming that ends up becoming the problem. I find it troubling that a business owner would have this many incidents happening in this many cases where weapons were brandished, people were physically involved in altercations, and that you have no
Right
clue.
now, so, I mean, for sale, but it was happening outside, and I can speak to the one that I know about that happened, that last one, that shooting.
Okay.
Because if you don't mind, I'd like to speak to it.
Hit pause right there. Okay. I will give you the respect of you answering the questions, and I expect that courtesy in return. Okay. So please don't talk over the top of the board. You'll be free to answer questions at length, say whatever you'd like to say. But it's not going to work if you want to just talk over the top of everybody while we're speaking back and forth.
Yes.
Okay. So to your point about it happening in the parking lot, Indiana statute and Indiana law says that you are responsible for things that happen inside the bar and move itself out to the parking lot. That is-
Sorry, I said street.
Parking lot or street. Indiana law dictates that that is your responsibility. That is part of your place being noted as a public nuisance. Okay. You had a point you wanted to make about the shooting.
I was in there that night. I left about, let's say 11:30. We only had a few people in there, maybe 6 or 8. It was a really slow night, Monday night. There was no problems. I get the call, I come back out. The guy was not a regular. We'd never seen him before. Nobody had seen him before. Turns out he was a felon. Like I say, there was no issue of any kind. There were a couple of regulars, a couple of women sitting at a table. He had apparently bought them a couple of drinks. He had gone back to the bar to pay with a credit card. There was another woman sitting at the bar talking to the bartender. Bartender, her mom worked for me, her sister worked for me. The girl sitting at the bar also worked as a bartender at Keys Lounge. I think she worked part-time at Charlie's. She also works at the Mill. So when the guy paid with a credit card, he didn't leave a tip. So she made the comment that black people don't know how to tip. And then he got really angry with her and said something about it. She was the guy, how he would handle it. Then he walked off, and then he walked back up to her and he punched her in the face. At this point, the bartender grabbed a handful of straws and threw them in the air and yelled to try to get everybody's attention. There was something going on there. At which point he then, because she just witnessed this young lady getting punched. At which point this guy pulls out a gun and shoots the TV. I'm not really sure what, because like I say, this was a Monday night. This was early. I want to say around midnight this happened. It was slow. There was only like 6 or 8 people in there, mostly regulars. And this guy was a convicted felon that shouldn't have a firearm in the first place. On some of these other incidents, like I say, when people walk outside the business, it's difficult. I've been in the bar business for 15 years, running 3 bars all at once at one point. We didn't have these problems until after the pandemic. I've since made a decision to just run 1 bar. So you're going to be talking about Ripley's here in a minute. It's been sold. I'm just waiting to close on it. I didn't want to put both bars up for sale at the same time. So once we close on Ripley's, then I'll be putting the cabinet up for sale as well.
Okay, so what, you told the entire story of what happened with the shooting, I guess. Where is the defense in this action? Now, you're talking about something that happened in your bar, and I've just described what 10 to a dozen incidents that have occurred over a 1.5 year period of time, in which you're taking from community resources, you're taking up the police's time, because somewhere along the line from this report, it seems like you have failed to have control of your business. So you're telling me that there are things that are happening inside the business. You've just described the incident that happened. What have you done over the course of time where these incidents are happening to stop your location from becoming a public nuisance?
A lot of these incidents that happen, when they happen, they're happening outside, okay, after they've left. I know you, but what I'm saying is when somebody has left the bar and then they go outside, they have an altercation, and somebody calls the police, the bartender or bartenders, there's a couple of them in there, they may not even know this is happening. And if you try to go out and talk to the police, they don't want to talk to you because you weren't a part of it, or you didn't witness it, or you didn't have, and I personally, a lot of those, I have no knowledge of them. And like I say, I went down to the police department to try to see, well, what were these things? And they won't even let me know what even happened. All I can see is that the police came out. That's all it says, that police came out for whatever, but it doesn't say why or what happened or anything else. And what I'm doing is I closed.
So you say you have no knowledge of the incidents that happened, but you know enough that they were all outside the premise.
No, I don't. No, sir. I don't know they were all outside the premise. If they happened in the premise, inside the bar, then I would assume that the bartender would have told me about it. Hey, we had a fight in the bar, this happened or that happened. They would call me. And I don't recall a lot of those. We had a situation a couple of years ago where it was like in the afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was in the bar doing, stuff I got to do, and this woman from the newspaper came over to drop off a thing, one of those voting things or whatever, and I said hi to her or whatever, and then she left to go outside, and then the next thing I know, a couple of hours later, I'm getting a phone call from the newspaper. And so he's telling me that when she left, she went out to her car. Somebody from in the bar followed her out. Like I say, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, followed her out to the car and harassed her, groped her. And I couldn't believe it. And so I got the security cameras and I made a copy of it, and I talked to her, and I said, you need to tell me what you want to do on this, but I think you need a report for this. And so we did report it, and we turned it over, and they ended up arresting the guy. But, you're open every day, and you have all kinds of people coming in, and you don't necessarily know, what they're doing or what they've done, or, I can't run a background check on people. All we can try to do is keep the bar clean and safe as we can, but
You've not really helped your argument with that story. I mean, you're talking about another felonious assault that is the result of your business.
so the guy that went out and assaulted that woman, he bears no responsibility.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But what I haven't heard is what you have done to cut down on the amount of criminal activity that's happened at your location. You want to make excuses. You want to say, well, they're happening outside. They're starting inside. And you don't,
I'm sorry.
because they start inside and move their way outside, it does not absolve you of the result. A person that came in and celebrated their 30th birthday became incredibly intoxicated. And that happened on a couple different instances here. They were inside the bar, became intoxicated, and then violence happens and it goes outside. That's where the police find them. For one reason or another, once they hit the threshold of your front door, it doesn't absolve you of the action. It's happening inside. And this report's very clear on where it is happening. It's a well-written report. So an arrest may happen outside. The victim may be laying outside, but it is a result of what is happening inside that is the problem. So I go back to the very first question I've asked you. What have you done? And you've closed. So I guess the answer is nothing.
Well,
You took no action to make sure that these events or these instances or these criminal actions were not happening at your premise.
well, the point I was trying to make with the guy going outside is we obviously, we didn't overserve him. You know, we served him, he had like 1 or 2 beers. We pursued that, so I didn't try to hide it. I didn't try to say, oh, well, we're gonna try to protect the bar or anything like that. I said, we need to fix this. This guy should be arrested. We're going to deal with this. And any other times that we've had any problems with people that are causing any problems at all, we would bar them. I mean, I barred lots of people, you know, lots, dozens, hundreds. I mean, I can't even describe how many we barred. But all we can do is identify an issue or behavior and then bar them and not let them back in. So if we have an issue or we've had an issue, because obviously we don't want it in the bar. So we've had issues with anybody causing any problems, or we've had issues where we've cut people off and then they want to throw a fit. And then we just bar them. Say, you can't come back. We're not going to do this. So beyond recognizing that there's an issue with the person and telling them they can't come back anymore, or calling the police and saying, hey, we've got proof this person did this. I mean, when we were getting really busy, there was times that I had 2 bartenders and I had private security in there. To try to make sure that, you know, people weren't bringing in their own alcohol.
When was this?
Excuse me?
When did you have private security?
It was after COVID. So when a lot of that stuff was happening is when I brought in private security and to try to, and then if we had an issue, we would close early. If there was any drama at all, we would close the bar. 1 o'clock in the morning would, you know, close.
Okay. Even though the vast majority of these instances are happening 2:19 a.m., 12:52 a.m. I think this one was at 8:56 in the morning. 2:11 a.m., 1:41 a.m., 10:14 p.m., 3:17 a.m., 8:17 p.m.
So you said one was at 8 o'clock in the morning.
That's what it reads.
We're obviously, we've been closed for a long time when that takes place.
Oh, no. That's when they were notified it happened. This happened between 1 and 2 a.m. in the morning on Saturday, December 2nd. So who did you hire for private security?
It was a gentleman by the name of Tommy Slaughter.
And what does Tommy Slaughter do for a living?
He was a truck driver.
Okay. So you did not hire police?
No.
You did not hire a private security firm. You just hired Tommy Slaughter, the truck driver. Okay. And what would qualify Tommy Slaughter, the truck driver, to run security?
He'd run security for me before, you know, at Wrigley's in the past. He did other odd jobs for me and stuff, but
How does it appear that went? Say not very good. Not very good. You guys were placed on PACE as a result of this violation. PACE is a corrective program by which you're under a heightened level of scrutiny. And you were issued a second notice of violation after having been on PACE for minimum food requirements, which qualifies you to hold the permit, and a smoking sign, which is a relatively minor violation. But as you were under a relatively high level of scrutiny because of the things that happened in the past, you were issued a second notice of violation. So how does a retail restaurant not meet minimum food requirements?
I had 2 gallons of whole milk and they was past the Best Buy date, and they said that it didn't count. And the sign on the door, the door had been broken accidentally by a delivery driver, had new glass. So I couldn't locate another adhesive sticker, so we had put tape on thing. And you can tell where it had been ripped off the door and taped on.
If we're under a high level of scrutiny, or I guess, what was your understanding of pace?
That they would be coming back often, that there would be no warnings.
Okay.
They would write me a lot of tickets. They said that we're going to come back and we're going to come back often over 12 months.
Okay.
We issue a ticket, there won't be a warning.
And how long have you owned this bar?
About 15 years.
15 years. And what's your knowledge of the minimum food requirement?
Well, it's changed recently. It used to be you had to have a milk, coffee, food, service, soup, sandwiches, which I had food. We had food service in there. We had coffee, we had everything. We had milk, like I say, which is past the Best Buy date.
Okay.
It's whole milk. It hadn't turned or anything, but they told me the Best Buy date was not was an expiration date in the excise.
Okay, so I've been with Excise 20 years and it's never changed. It's 25 servings of hot soup, hot sandwiches, coffee, milk, and soda at all times for patrons. That's never changed once.
I had that, but I was told that I had an excise officer come into one of my bars, and they said that the food requirement is you just have to have soup and sandwiches, not for 25. But I still met that requirement on that visit, but I've been told that since then, last July or the July before, that has changed. The state changed that law.
But not at this point in time.
But
This was not when this violation occurred,
yes, sir, but I did have the food. I mean, like I say, it was just milk.
but not at this time.
Excuse me,
But not when this violation happened.
what's the violation say? Because I had food, I had soup and sandwiches, and I had everything except for the milk was past the Best Buy day.
Okay. On Friday, May the 10th,
Yes, sir.
you were required to have a certain level of food service. And you didn't. You just described that you didn't.
Yes, sir.
So,
I made a mistake. I didn't realize that the Best Buy date was because I had 2 gallons of whole milk.
okay, what I'm trying to say is that if you're under a heightened level of scrutiny, I should think that you would be in this premise making sure that everything was spotless, everything was in order, every record was kept, everything. But this just goes to show me that you're not involved as much as what should be in this business. There's a level of care that's been lacking. Questions, comments?
Yes, I do.
So what are you keeping?
Stevens,
Which
Well,
place?
he has had 3 bars,
yeah.
right?
Now, I counted, and I lost count maybe, I counted 12 incidents that resulted in you being cited since 2022. I may be off 1 or 2. Of that, there's been instances with firearms, fighting, battery, disorderly conduct, disturbance. I mean, there's a lot here. And I think you were asked about hiring security. The incident you described just a while back, the last incident, I mean, I can understand you're not totally responsible for, people that walk in and an incident happens rarely. But this is a pattern since 2022, the police being summoned. My fear is that with the public nuisance designation that the excise has applied here, that a police officer may be coming into a situation where they're injured or killed. Because sounds like there's a lot of violent incidents that are taking place at your area or your business. And I'm really worried about that. It would be totally a just a shame that we as a board don't, if we allow this to continue and someone gets hurt or killed, I just shudder to think of the things that could happen. So you were asked about what have you done, and you said you hired security, and then it really wasn't any trained security at all. So since 2022, you've never had any trained security in there, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can I address some of those things that you said though?
Now, you said a lot of these incidents happen outside. Have you done anything to expand your surveillance system in the last 3 years to cover the outside so you could see what's going on?
No, sir. I have cameras out there. I've had cameras out there already.
Okay.
A lot of those things that you said I was cited, I wasn't cited. When the police came out and there was an issue, I don't know at the time, I don't know whether they just came out and then they talked to people and they left, or if they arrested somebody. They don't come back on those and say, hey, we've got this problem or this problem. There was never anybody from the police department saying, hey, we need to, this is becoming an issue. Is there something that we can do? You need to be aware that these things are happening out on the street. That didn't take place. And so for these to be like, okay, this, and this, and this, I mean, I would like to be able to see what those things are, like a report like you have, and be able to address those one by one. But I never had that. And so that's not me making excuses. That's just me saying that it's difficult to go out there and try to be involved in this a situation that the police are involved in, and try to understand even, because sometimes things happen that they weren't even in the bar.
In many of these incidents, are you the one that calls in the police complaint, or is it called in from someone else?
It's not me, because usually either a bartender will call, they'll call me, and then I'll say, yeah, you need to call, or it's someone else calling. So especially if it's happened, like I say, once they've left. If they've even been there, because I've also had situations with my bars where people will pull up and just hang out near the bar and never even come in the bar. They'll show up with their own alcohol, they'll drink on the street, those kinds of things happen. And they don't even come in the bar.
Why would they do that? Why, I mean, you're not a stadium, you're not a sporting event, no one's tailgating in the middle of the road. Why do you think that people would come to your bar for the purpose of going to a bar to sit outside and drink?
Well, I can speak to this on another location, that's Ripley's. So at Ripley's, it was very common we would be open, and they would come and park all up and down 9th Street and never even come in. And so they're just coming to hang out with their friends or whatever. And I don't know why they're doing that, but, I called numerous times, the police department, about, people out there on the street, but there's nothing that can be done because it's a public street. And I did use police security at Ripley's, so I'm not against using police security. It's just that at the cabin, a lot of these things, it's such a small bar. As far as not using security was because I simply couldn't afford it. I have to use 2 cops, and it's 4-hour minimum. It's $35 an hour each, and $70 an hour for 4 hours. And it's just too much. So that's the reason why we started doing things like, as soon as there's any drama, and we made that very clear to the patrons that if there's any drama at all, we're going to close early. And we did that multiple times so that, everybody knew that if you wanted us to stay open, then it was a matter of, we would turn the lights on full blast and just close the bar as soon as we saw that there was any kind of drama developing.
And I'm really sensitive to that. I understand what you're saying entirely. But we have an event every month. It's very rare that I have seen a record such as this from a business asking for a renewal. Very rare. I remember one time on the north side, there was a business that was similar to yours, small, very violent. Police were called there all the time. And I believe in one of the rare times that we did not recommend that that business continue to have a license because I mean, after so many incidents, it's a pattern. We don't see this very often. Most places don't have a record like this. I don't know what's wrong.
Well, for 10 years, we didn't have this problem. And then what happened was you had several bars in town close, you know, the Dewdrop and Whiskey Barrel and other ones all close.
Yeah.
And then people migrate. And, you know, it got to the point where, you know, it was just, I'm just going to close the business. I'm looking for the renewal on this just so I can sell the business. Somebody with some fresh eyes and a fresh, you know, mindset come in and do something with it. But even if just being closed for, you know, a year or 2 years, that will, you know, I would presume clear a lot of that mess out of there. I am not interested in having, you know, those kinds of issues, and I'm not certainly not interested in anybody getting hurt or having any problems. It's not worth it. You know, I want to run a safe business, and I did it for a long time. So it's just got to the point where, you know, and I'm gonna
It's not an easy business, I know. I know that for a fact. But when I looked at all of these, and it looked like the majority of these things happened after midnight. Yet, what are your hours now?
Well, we're closed. It's been closed for,
Okay, but I mean, when you were open, what was there?
I was all over the place. So for a while there, for a couple of years, we were opening up 7 a.m. every day and we were doing breakfast and, you know, we had foods, we had lunches and everything else. I tried even doing dinners and stuff. And so we were open from 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. And then, we ended up, I think we were open from 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. for like 2 or 3 years. And then, we scaled back to, we were opening at 11 a.m. every day. And so we would have, you know, just basically regulars and stuff. Most people, didn't even come out until, you know, midnight, obviously, because that's when we got busy, so 11 o'clock midnight. We would do last call no later than 2:40. Or no, excuse me, 2:20. We would do last call no later than 2:20. Or 2:15 or 2:20. We were doing it early, so we kept going back on last call further and further back. I hung up big signs all over the bar saying we were doing last call, and I even put on there that if anybody could cause any problems about that, then we would just, you know, bar them as well. And I did all kinds of different things to bar people. I mean, we would bar people for, you know, 2 weeks. We would bar people for 6 months. We would bar people permanently. So we had all kinds of different ways that we would handle that. I had a group page with all of my staff where we would post pictures of people that were barred. We would put on there, you know, this person caused a problem or this person walked out on a tab. So we would do all those kinds of things to, you know, try to make sure that we weren't letting the same troublemakers and problem people.
It seems like there's a high correlation between the incidents and the time of day. And if I were the owner, I think I'd look at that and say, hey, we need to not open that late. The public intoxication probably goes up higher after midnight because they've sat there for hours and hours and then consumed alcoholic beverage. So I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot that hasn't been done that should be done. In my opinion.
Yeah, and I made the decision to close the business. So, and I'm just looking to renew this license so that I can sell the business.
Have you done that?
So no, I'm not sold it, but I'm on the road. I'm telling you that's what's gonna happen.
Okay. When did you close?
Like May of last year, 2024.
Okay. May of 24 and you've not sold it yet. It's in escrow, which means that you
No,
could renew.
sir, no, sir. Didn't mean to interrupt you. Ripley's is in escrow. Cabin hasn't been put up for sale. I wanted to sell. I didn't want to put 2 bars on the market at the same time.
Well, they're both in escrow, both of these licenses.
Oh, yeah, Randy, yes, sir. It's in, I'm sorry, it's in escrow. Yeah, I'm misunderstood. I'm a little.
So while it's in escrow, you are in possession of the license. And if it's renewed, that means that you could reopen the business.
Okay.
Okay.
But I'm telling you in a row that is not what I'm going to do.
So,
Anyway, legally, we can keep this in escrow.
no.
So, okay.
So you've had 3 bars, right? So
Yes, sir.
where you run yourself to death, I guess, trying to keep up with 3. Now you're gonna be down to Stevens Inn.
Yeah, that's the only one that's open. Ripley's been closed since November of last year.
Okay. Any other questions?
I got you.
Ray, do you have any other questions or comments?
I have no more questions.
A mess.
What we're being asked to do is renew a permit with, this many instances of violence occurring at it. The permit is in escrow. There is not currently, by your own testimony, a deal to sell the business or to transfer the license. We have no application on file by which you're going to transfer this license. So renewing it would keep it in your custody. And you could open the bar up pending my final inspection, if that were the case. I did not hear many creative answers as to how you were going to stop this from happening. Had you gone to Terre Haute Police Department and asked for the freedom of information or by purchasing case reports, you would have been able to get incident reports.
I did that, sir, and they
Okay.
did not give it to me. I went in there and I offered to buy it.
You had access to this report through the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, and this is not the first, second, or third hearing that this has been scheduled for, because you had pending violation settlement agreements out there. So all you had to do to get a copy of this was ask the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission for a copy of the report, and it would have been provided to you. You signed a settlement agreement acknowledging responsibility for these violations. That's what a settlement agreement is. You had the opportunity to deny these and go to a hearing, but you did not. You signed a settlement agreement.
If I can,
Sure.
make a motion to table this for the next 30 days, give him a chance to do something with the license. And, because I cannot support renewing this license at this time. So
I can't second that motion. He's from May of 2024 until now. Do you have any prospective buyers?
I've not put it on the market.
So he's not tried to sell it. So he's closed it with the idea of selling it. With that, I can't grant a continuance for 30 days to find a buyer. Holding on to a permit is not a right. It's like a driver's license. It can be taken away. And hearing this and hearing your explanation of what you would have done or what you did to act was not satisfactory to me, and I'd make a motion to deny the renewal of this permit.
I'll second.
All right, motion to deny and made and seconded. All in favor of denial? Aye. Motion carries 3-0. And this will go to State Commission on November the 4th. The remaining permit is Ripley's Bar, RR 8403694, for the same charge for public nuisance. So give me an opportunity to tell us about this incident.
Friday or Saturday night, and it was once again, I was in there, and it was dead. We had no live entertainment, we had no DJ. And I left, I want to say about midnight. And the people came in. They weren't in there that long. I talked to lots of people, regulars, not lots, there wasn't a lot of people in there, but I talked to a couple of regulars. One that worked for me part-time here and there on call. And she works security over at the casino. And he said that when they got there, she left to take a friend home. And when they had pulled up, she left. And then when she came back, it was when the police were out there. So that's not 20 minutes, she said, time. The bartender does not recall selling them anything. So they came in, they were in the bar. I read the report. It says that they were drinking, but somebody was celebrating a birthday, but they hadn't been celebrating at Ripley's. They went outside on the street, and there was a fight over a woman, from what I understand. The one fella shot the other fella, and then another guy, friend of the person that got shot, apparently chased the other guy down the street. He was a felon that shouldn't have a gun as well.
Okay, so this report reads an awful lot like the first report does. At the top of this report, it's listed there have been 7 calls related to fights and or battery and 3 related to shots fired, including the incident that you just listed. April 15th of 23 at 2:18 a.m. That was a call for a fight. Subject was taken into custody. Officers investigated the fight. Female displayed a firearm inside the premise. Officers documented a very strong odor of burnt marijuana inside the premise. August 9th of 2024 at 2:58 a.m. Call for an intoxicated patron. A person is arrested charged with public intoxication, disorderly conduct, resisting law enforcement, intimidation, battery by bodily waste, battery against a public safety official. August 25th of 2024 at 3:20 a.m. Call for a subject with a gun. Officers responded to the bar in reference to a male waving a gun around. Spoke to the bartender. There'd been a large fight inside the bar. Male subject went outside, pulled a gun, fired 1 shot in the air. Tuesday, September 24th. Spoke with an employee. Conducted follow-up with Detective Piety from Terre Haute Police Department. Reference this incident. Possession of firearm by a serious violent felon, criminal recklessness, shooting into a building, unlawful possession of firearm by a domestic batterer. Also by a male named Shane Hunter was charged with 2 counts of aggravated battery. And then on September 30th of 2024, a notice of violation was issued for public nuisance. This was noted in news media as well, specifically the last shooting incident that you're talking about. So much like the previous location, talking nearly 2 years worth of violent incidents, intoxication that happened at this premise. What did you do to curtail these incidents from happening at your bar?
Well, at Ripley's, we reduced our hours for sure. I mean, we weren't open as many days. When we were open, we would stay open until 2 or 3. As far as like the intoxication one, I don't even know that they didn't show up intoxicated from somewhere else, you know, depending upon when they got there, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I would use security in there all the time. So if we had a DJ or anything like that, you know, obviously it was at least 2 police officers. If it was a bigger event, I would use even more. We would have 3, because I wanted to make sure that we would have somebody outside as well if it was warm weather and out in the beer garden.
So why would you have police officers at Ripley's but not have police officers at the cabin?
Because Ripley's is law departure was a lot bigger.
There were more frequent acts that happened at the cabin than happened at Ripley's, even though they both occurred over the course of 2+ years.
A lot of those that you mentioned, I honestly was not made aware of. So, you know, you read off a lot of stuff there, and because people would park, like for the cabin, people would park down 13th Street all the way down to Sebring. And so if they've gone down to Sebring or they're anywhere, you know, I mean, they stay there away from the bar. And then I can recall there was an incident where somebody pulled out a gun and it was like almost down to Sebring, because the police came in and they talked to me and they were asking about, you know, anything. And it was like, no, nothing. There was no drama in here at all. Nothing. So whatever they got into.
What does something happening down the road on Sebring have to do with the incidents that I just specifically listed?
I understand your question.
Well, I ask you about specific incidents and you want to talk about people that are parked down the road doing something non-related to this. I'm asking what you've done over the course of 2 years to stop violent incidents from happening. But and it's the same story as it was last time. I don't even need to rehash a lot of that. Really, what you're saying is that I have no knowledge base of this happening. I don't know what's happening inside my own bar. That's your business. You should make it your business to know what's happening inside of your bar.
I didn't say that. I didn't say I didn't know what was happening inside. I just said I didn't know what's happening outside, sir.
Okay, and I gave you specific incidents that happen inside your bar. I'm not talking about the outside of the bar. I'm talking specifically about a handful of incidents that happen inside, and you want to change the topic and change the subject and go outside the bar and tell me about things that have nothing to do with any of this.
There's never been a shooting in Ripley's, never once. There's never been a shooting inside Ripley's ever.
As though having a shooting inside Ripley's is somehow the precipice for denying the permit. I'm asking what you've done to curtail violence in your businesses.
I use security, sir. I use police officers.
So you're telling me that the police were present during all of these events?
No, sir, I didn't use police officers sitting next to me. I had to make a business decision on nights that we were busy, we would use police officers, and nights when we're not. This one, I do have a signed contract for sale.
Did you have police officers on duty during the shooting incident that was reported in the newspaper? Were there police officers working that day?
No, sir, it was, like I say, that was a very, very slow night. You know, we did $600 of gross sales for the whole day. Gave all of my receipts and everything to the police department.
So we're trying to decide what to do with Ripley's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the 10 incidents were in the time period, 2 year period, or
Let's see, the earliest is April of 23, up until the shooting that was in the news.
Here.
Yeah. When do you close on the sale?
I don't know. We had to do an extension because we're waiting for them to close on a house that they're selling. They've got a house for sale over in Farrington Grove. When it closes, then close on this.
You have a signed contract to sell the business.
Yes, sir. Lisa Teagarden is the realtor, it's the real estate connection.
And who are the people? Do they qualify to hold a license?
I don't, I'm assuming they do. I haven't spoken to them because I'm using a realtor.
are these licenses readily available?
No, but my thinking is the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission has allowed. I saw that. About fell out of her chair. The Alcohol and Tobacco Commission has allowed the transfer of a permit that has been denied, and I'll just open and honest right here. I have seen nothing that would lead me to want to renew this permit. They have allowed the transfer of a denied permit when the application has been submitted and pending approval of the board and that they qualify for the permit. I go back to the same perspective that I had before. To renew the permit means that he could just decide not to sell the business and open it tomorrow. We leave it in his custody. And he has shown himself to be a negligent business owner. And in my opinion, not worthy of having the permit renewed. So if he can sell it, then great. I think that would be a fine thing.
Solution.
But I cannot in good conscience renew the permit where the same owner has allowed this many violent incidents to happen at multiple locations. That is negligence. So I would make a motion to deny the permit based upon the previous factors, number of violations that have happened, and that it is a public nuisance.
I'll second.
Motion is made for denial, seconded, all in favor of that motion.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Be set for city commission on November the 4th. Those are the last remaining items on the agenda today.